Welcome to the Midnight Entrepreneur. I'm your host, Easton Bennett, alongside my fellow co-host, Tyler and Easton. We are both entrepreneurs who are learning, growing, and building our own businesses. Our goal is to share our experience and knowledge to help you grow and become a successful entrepreneur. Before we get started, if you have any questions or things you'd like us to cover, you can email us at themidnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. If you have any questions for us, don't join our business Discord because it's pretty much non-existent at this point. But you can message us and we'll just talk about fun stuff, whatever you want to do. Strap in. Tyler, how is it going over there on the West Coast time zone?
Yeah, it's going all right. Still trying to get used to this West Coast. Not as big a fan of it. Maybe it was just because I was in such a good routine with the Arizona coast time zone. But yeah, now it's a little bit different because I either need to get out earlier for my first workout or, like I'm doing today, push them back and then do them both in the afternoon, which in my opinion isn't ideal. I like to space them out a little bit, do one in the morning, one in the afternoon. But yeah, we're trying to get used. So I don't know if it's just different, but it just seems like this time zone change is screwing me up.
Got to get back into a new routine and then you'll be golden, pony boy.
I know. No. The thing is, probably by the time I do actually get into a routine here, I'm going to have to go back home. And then I'm going to have to get used to a new routine being on East Coast time. And then it's like, oh man, now I got to do it all over again. But we'll get there. Your
routines are flying all over the place. So for the people listening,
I know.
When do you go back home?
In 15 days from today, which is March 29th.
2 weeks. How do you feel about that, Tyler?
Time's flown by, but I mean, I think I got a lot out of it, and I'm definitely happy I did it, and happy I connected with a lot of the people I did. Definitely pushed myself a lot, and I got out what I wanted to get out of it. I just hope I can get back home, and weather's somewhat nice out, and I don't really take a hit from there, but we might just have to deal with what we're given because we can't control the weather. And, you just deal with the hand that you got and what was saying. You play the hand that you're dealt with. Yeah, there we go.
Back into the tundra you go.
Exactly. But we'll be fine. I'll at least be running outside. At the worst case scenario, I'll be on the trainer for the bike, but I'd prefer to be outside. And I'm looking forward to just training with a lot of the other people because I've been talking with my cousin a little bit and this other guy that I found out he does Ironmans last year as well. I'll be training with them a lot. And right now I'm just only running and biking on my own, and then I'll swim with the people. So it'll be nice to actually swim, bike, and run with everyone and try and, get out there with other people and push myself in the other disciplines.
Well, enjoy your last couple weeks in Arizona, Tyler. Other than that, what do you got for updates for us?
Yeah, this was something that sparked up on our mastermind call. Well, one of my goals is around New Frame, and one of your goals is around YouTube. And then I mentioned to you, because every week you say it, and I'm like, why do you still have that on there? And then it made me think I'm being a hypocrite because I have a goal on there that I don't do anything towards as well, which is towards New Frame. So I think I'm going to start doing stuff for New Frame. I set a goal out this week to start blogging, and I think that one I'm probably going to do blogging, and I might do podcasting eventually. I just think blogging isn't as big of a commitment because if I do get back into podcasting, I want to be consistent with it. Whereas blogging, I don't think I need to be as consistent with it. But if podcasting, I do get back into it, it's like, okay, I want to make sure I'm getting at least one video a week. So it's like, that's an actual commitment where I got to make sure like I'm pumping that shit out every single week. Whereas with blogging, it's like, okay, just get a blog in here and there and make sure that I'm trying to progress that forward because I do have this goal and I'm not taking any actions towards that goal. So I'm just going to try and start to take a little bit of actions for that specific goal.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, especially podcasting. I just did it again, Tyler, where I started with, I'm trying to be better on it.
I wasn't going to say anything, but I was like, first thing already. We're already on a roll.
I'll be better at it. At least I'm subconsciously feeling it now, now that you pointed it out. But the podcasting is the hardest thing because that's the one that you really want to be more consistent with, where it's weekly. And that's kind of the trap that I've fell into with the business podcast, is that I haven't, my grandma passed away, and then I got strep throat. And then, so I'm coming up with these excuses where I definitely could film these episodes, but once you let one slip by, it's easy to let more slip by. So being consistent with anything, whether it's blogging or podcasting or social media content, or in my case, YouTube content, once you let one go, the cookie starts to crumble. So that consistency is the hard thing to get through there.
The standards start to slip a little bit, where it's like, okay, I didn't do it this week, I guess I'm fine with not doing it again. And it's like same thing with anything, where it's like, okay, I'll just have like one cookie. And then it's like that one cookie once a week turns into maybe I'll have a second cookie. And then that slowly trickles into everything. But I wanted to ask you, because with your business podcast, I know you started out, I'm pretty sure with the three dudes, you guys do it weekly as well. I'm not sure if you guys missed anything, but like, what's your mindset with that, where it's like, I got to do this every single week? And then I know with your Mind Not Business podcast, you have missed some weeks. What's happened there? Is it just like that mindset shift where it's like, I'll get it in when I get it in? Like, do you feel bad that you're not getting it in and you're not being consistent with it?
I think it's easier to not feel consistent with it when there's not really any consequences. So, kind of like eating a cookie. If you eat a cookie, it doesn't feel right away like, oh, this is bad for me. I feel like junk. But if you eat 10 cookies every single day, after 6 months, you're going to be like, man, I shouldn't have crushed all those cookies. I feel like junk, or, my diet's out of whack, whatever it might be. So you don't see it on the surface, where that's the problem I'm having with the podcast is no one says anything. No one says, hey, where's the episode? Life goes on. It just moves on. So I don't see any real repercussions, and that's the issue. But you need to be mentally tough enough to tell yourself the consistency is the consequence. If you lose that consistency, you're going to lose brand awareness. You're going to lose some of your fans, your loyal fans. So yeah, the mindset shift is definitely that I want to get back into it, but I've done it enough times where there hasn't been any consequences. So I feel like I can get away with it now. But I need to switch my mindset back into, you're playing against yourself. It's not for your audience. The consistency is what you're playing against. I know it's a long answer to your question, but hopefully got the answer through.
I like what you said about it, where it builds up over time. You're not going to see that cookie add on to your say gut in one day. You're not going to see it over a week. You're not going to see it over a month, but over a year, over 5 years, that might start adding up. And it's the same thing. Like, you're either depositing in or you're taking out. And this is just like that discipline bucket where you're depositing in or depositing out. And then same thing with just building it up over time, where if you're consistently doing it over time, over 5 years, you have no idea where it's going to be if you stayed consistent with it every single week. Whereas if you did it over 5 years and you were like on and off and on and off and on and off, and my other mastermind, this one guy, he brought up a cool little graph where it's like, it goes in both directions. So like, if you do it daily, the compound growth is like that slow hockey stick, and it just like goes up exponentially. But if you do it the opposite way, where you say you miss like that 1%, and it just kind of like goes down. So it's like, it's interesting getting the contrast between like taking away and then given in, and like where you could actually be if you stay consistent with it every single day or every single week.
Exactly. And it's hard to see on the day-to-day basis, where you might be consistent posting a YouTube video every week, whatever it is, and you don't see it on the surface level. But when you look back at a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, you really see it. You could compare it to drinking beer. I could have a beer every single day if I'm in my freshman year of college, and it might be fine. But then when you look at pictures from when you got to college to now 4 years into college, you're like, man, I crushed a lot of beer. I'm a little bit bigger. So same goes with business and with content and whatever you're doing. That consistency adds up over time, where it does turn into that hockey stick. I saw a post yesterday where it was a investing chart, that hockey stick where it's exponentially growing, and it went backwards and it was like a meme. And someone commented and they're like, wow, the compound interest went back in time just to get more gains. Impressive. So yeah, I mean, you
Inflation.
definitely have to be consistent, which is a good pivot into what Tyler and I are saying. Tyler's going to get rocking and rolling on more new frame stuff to hit that goal that he wants with his business. And I,
Hopefully.
last night, yeah, hopefully, fingers crossed. And I am going to start implementing more of a marketing plan on creating content around YouTube and social media stuff and start actually implementing what I'm selling to people. I think that's the biggest thing that bothers me is that I tell people to do something, but then I don't do it myself, whereas I feel much better selling things to people when I'm actually doing them too.
So are you doing that personally or are you doing that for your business? Because I know you're getting back into YouTube. You do have a business YouTube channel, but how do you plan on doing all that stuff?
It'll be through my personal account. I'm a believer that people buy from people. So I think they're going to be able to tie my business to me. Maybe when I get to a higher point, like if you're comparing Apple and Steve Jobs, that's a little bit different. Apple's huge, whereas Steve Jobs and Apple might post different things. But when it's on a small enough level where I'm at, I'm still basically the brand. Whereas if I have a team where there's 5-10 people and maybe there's stuff going around in the office and I'm not in all the videos, then I could see more of the content transitioning to the business side of things. But for now, just sticking with the personal content on my personal page, or not the personal content, but the business content on my personal page. And then the business accounts will focus on the work that we do, maybe some behind the scenes, some job shadows, stuff like that, but nothing specific. It's going to mainly focus on my personal accounts.
Okay.
You're anti.
You know how I feel.
Yeah, you're anti, but
I feel like you can come up with different strategies. Like I think there is stuff that you can post on your personal, but I do think there's a lot of stuff that you can post on your business stuff, and I think you can separate it a little bit. And I think you being the face of your business. I know Alex Ramosi doesn't like to do that, but like currently where you're currently at, you are the face of your business, and that's kind of like your growth. So it's like Bennett Creative Media, and then it's also you're pretty much the only employee that you currently have. You're kind of working on towards getting more employees there, but you are the face of it. And I know Alex doesn't like that, more so when he's buying an acquisition company, just because it's like, okay, you're tied to the sales of it. And it's like, if we take you out, then the sales are going to decline because you're not there anymore. So I think that's just something to take into consideration. But I think you can come up with a strategy and different types of content that can go on your business versus go on your personal. And I think they can interlock with each other and form like a good like funnel or whatever.
For sure. And that's where, there definitely will still be content on the business page, but building my personal brand, I think, is important. It's just, I personally believe, and some people lean one way or the other, but it's much easier to buy from a person. There's a ton of people I follow on Instagram, and I'd much rather, if they're selling a service, I'd much rather talk to them or have a conversation with them than if I see it from a business page. It doesn't really feel like I'm connecting with the human. I'm much more likely to interact with a story or interact with someone's post over a business page. Even popping into my head here, interacting with a Barstool Sports page compared to a Barstool character or person, employee, whatever it might be, which one are you more likely to interact with? So there's definitely room for both. I'm not disagreeing with you there at all, but I think having that personal brand on my personal account is super important, and it allows you to be able to pivot down the road where maybe, I stop doing video down the road, but I switch into this thing. I already have that built up. So
our pizza reviews, our coffee reviews.
Yeah, exactly. I'm doing this for us, Tyler. Doing it for us.
Cool.
The last update I had, looks like this is going to be the first month that I ever have a $50,000 month, which is cool to say. It's good to document. I know there's only like 5 listeners of this show, but
5,000.
Yeah, it's good to be able to say that. I was telling Tyler yesterday, it's not like it feels incredibly different, but it is interesting that amount of money goes into a bank account in one 30-day period. So motivation to keep that going, keep that rolling. Still not hitting the goals we want to hit, but we're one step closer. So that's kind of cool to say, and it's kind of cool to be excited about that. So
Job's not finished.
Job's not finished. Job's not done. Tyler, any other updates for us before we get into this week's topic?
No, not really. I feel like I'm just doing the same old stuff and not taking enough action. But yeah, same old.
Action. We're gonna take action this week. You can take action into bitching at me if I don't take action.
Is that this week or next week?
Next week. It's already
next week.
Yeah, it's Thursday already.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Plus, I'm working all weekend on a video shoot, so I can't really do much.
That's some big news for us. Not filming on a Sunday last minute.
I know. This is being filmed on a Thursday afternoon, guys. It's kind of crazy. So this episode will be live in the morning and not in the afternoon on Monday. So enjoy that while you can. I'm sure we'll go back to Sundays eventually.
I mean, once I'm back on East Coast time, I feel like because once I'm back on East Coast time, I'm going to have a lot better internet and it's not going to take 12 hours for me to upload my stuff and give it to you.
Definitely
It'll
helps.
go back to the regular 30 minutes.
When there's a 24-hour period between which we can edit these podcasts. Definitely helps.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, let's get into this week's topic. We mentioned it from the top a little bit. Marketing. Tyler's wanting to do more marketing for New Frame. I'm wanting to do more for Bennett Creative Media and my personal account. And we wanted to talk about what actually marketing is and the contrast between it being marketing, here it is, anyone can do it, and actually being a person that is a marketing manager or, chief marketing officer, whatever it might be. Because I personally think this has came up in my life a few different times. A lot of people think that anyone can be a marketing employee. Tyler, have you ran into any of this, whether it's a business or a person or a conversation you've had where, it's just marketing, anyone can do it?
What do you mean by marketing employee?
Well, I don't know, like what you'd say the title is, marketing manager.
Marketing manager.
Yeah.
I mean, I think anyone could be. I don't think it's a tough job. I think you have to, I say it being a marketer myself, but I think that I think there's so many different jobs that you can learn as you do it. And I think this is one of those jobs where you can definitely learn it on your own as well. You can take courses, you can watch YouTube videos. And I think a big bulk majority of what I know and what I started out is I learned on my own because I was kind of forced into it where I wanted to start a business and I had to learn all this different marketing stuff. So, I think a lot of people can be marketers, and there's probably like a difference between good and bad marketers. And I think that might just come back to like the creative aspects of it and their depth of knowledge within marketing.
I agree. I just think your situation's a little different. I would say you are the marketing manager, the marketing employee, because you went into marketing. What I'm talking about, I've worked with multiple businesses, and they're usually mid to small businesses where they don't have a dedicated marketing person. The person working the front desk also does the marketing because they think it's just posting a couple pictures on social media here and there. Maybe, you're working, this is a big grand vision here, but let's say you're working at a hospital and one of the doctors or one of the nurses also does the marketing. That doesn't happen because most marketing, or most hospitals have a marketing firm or a marketing extension or arm or branch or whatever you want to call it. But I've ran into a lot of small businesses where they don't have a marketing person because, it's just marketing, right? We'll just have Melissa do it. She also books our appointments with our clients, but she does marketing. Whereas I don't think it's that simple. I think you need someone that's dedicated in that marketing role to focus on marketing. And that's where, I'm not disagreeing with you that anyone can go into that role, but we need to focus on that person actually executing around marketing rather than marketing just being an extension that anybody can do and they can hand it off to whoever.
Right. I think that's only a small aspect of it because a lot of people will think what marketing is and they don't understand the whole depth of what marketing is, because I think marketing's a massive umbrella with so many different things that is under it, because
I think a lot of people just think it's just social media.
Right. And that because it's becoming so big, and it's like everyone's on social media, everyone's on Instagram, everyone's on TikTok, everyone's on Facebook, and that's just something that everyone talks about now. And it's like, are you on Facebook yet? Or are you on Instagram yet? So they think that's what they need to do in order to get customers, in order to get clients, whatever it is, to increase their brand awareness. So it's only one small aspect of it. And a lot of the times you actually like, they need, I think it depends on the amount of the person at the same time too, because I think I can do a lot more than a lot of people, but some people like you give someone a task for a day and it's like they'll take up the whole day if it's just one task, where for me it's like I'm just going to get the shit done. But yeah, they like to think of like marketing as like a whole. They don't realize all the other stuff that can go into it, and I think that's just their ignorance to the actual topic, and they don't understand the whole breadth of I don't really depth of the actual marketing place.
And I don't think it's their fault either. I think that's just what they're used to. It's like, oh, social media, that's what marketing is. We need to get
that's what they hear a lot.
Our brand in front of eyeballs, right? But if you look at a big company, they have marketing people that focus on the PR side of things, public relations. Maybe the owner is going on to talk shows. Maybe they're doing interviews with journalists, whatever it might be. There's a whole side of marketing that maybe focuses on the brand distribution. So maybe it's a product-based company where they're sending out cans of whatever the beverage is. There's a whole side of marketing that focuses on, okay, here's what the labels are going to look like. And this is going to tie back to our values that we're fun and quirky, because the labeling on the can is bubble letters and it's different colors. So when you get to those higher ends, marketing is so much more than just, I'm going to post on social media, we'll get our eyeballs out there. Where I think companies should start focusing on more of, what is your marketing plan? What do you want to accomplish? What is your goal? That's what you have to tie back to. What is your goal? And then we come up with a plan on how to achieve that. Maybe it is super heavy on social media, but maybe you want to do blogging, and maybe you want to do a podcast, and maybe you want to do radio, billboards, whatever it might be. But like you said, it is an umbrella. It's way more than just, I'm going to post on social media because I'm the marketing manager.
Yeah, that was something that was or happened to me because I originally started with photography and videography, and that's an aspect of marketing, because you got to be able to show that to other people. And that was something that kind of got me into actually marketing. But like you're saying, like there's just so much to it. Like you got the website, you got blogging, you got podcasting, you can do YouTube, you can do social media, you can do email marketing. There's just so many different funnels. You can do so many different stuff, and like text campaigns. And like you were saying with the PR, like it's like a whole role where if you want to get like the max output from it, you probably need to have that specific person that is dedicated to that. It's not just like that front desk person that does stuff on the side where maybe they'll do a social media post or whatever it might be. You actually need like a whole either person or department, depending on how big you are and how much you want to actually pump out to be able to have like a good quote unquote marketing campaign to achieve your goals. Like you're saying, you got to figure out what goals do you want to actually achieve. Do you just want to increase your brand awareness? Do you want to generate more leads? Do you want to generate more sales? You got to figure exactly out what you're trying to accomplish.
I think you mentioned this earlier, that marketing is really just getting your product or service a little bit more well-known to whoever you want to see it. Like you said, maybe it's more sales, so you need to get it in front of people that are going to buy it. Maybe it's brand awareness, so you need a broader spectrum of people that can view your product or service. But really, I think it comes down to building relationships. So I know we're on a little bit of a rant here, but what are some things, Tyler,
Surprise.
do you think, yeah, what we do, the rant podcast.
Yeah.
What are some things, Tyler, that you think maybe someone listening to this has a business and they think marketing is just posting on social media? How can they switch their mindset? What are some things that they should know or that they should consider and think about to switch their mind to, okay, I need to actually focus on marketing rather than just letting marketing be a secondary thing?
Well, I think it does come back to your product or service, because a lot of the times if you don't have a good product or service and you're spending a lot of money on marketing, and say you're spending a lot of money on marketing, whether that be through employees or paid advertising, whatever it might be, if you don't have a good product or service, that person might come and buy it, but the cost of acquisition for that customer is maybe $50. They buy once and then they don't end up buying again because the product sucks or the service sucks, and they don't tell their friends because the product or service sucks. So it comes back to that. So it's like, first you want to nail that down. Once you have a good product or service, then going out and trying to acquire these people through marketing efforts. Say it costs $50 to get that person. They only spend, say, $25. But with that $25, they might end up coming back, and they might end up coming back with a friend. So now that friend came back with someone else, and then that friend ends up telling someone else because that product or service is so good. So it's just like it's not a revolving door where you're spending so much money on marketing to try and get people in. They never end up coming back because your product or service sucks. So it's a revolving door to try and get new people in, but they just always never come back. But then when you do have the good product or service, it's not a revolving door anymore. I don't know what it would be, but it just becomes like an ever-growing thing because your product or service is so good. I don't know what the question was, but I'm just going.
I agree. I think what I was trying to get at, and you skipped a couple steps, which is good because we were going to get there. But I think it starts with your audience. Marketing, if you're going to market, the first thing you need to know is who you're marketing to. So without a deep understanding of, hey, this is the exact person I need to get in front of, it's going to be really hard to come up with that marketing plan. So before you even get to the point where you have a good product and you have a good experience that customer is going through, like Tyler mentioned, we need to know exactly who this customer is. Who are we even talking about? So I'd say that's step number one. Sit down, brainstorm, and figure out, who do I want to enjoy my content? Who do I want to enjoy my product? Who do I want to enjoy my service? Whatever it might be. Write down a little avatar script of, okay, this is exactly the person that I want to market to. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It can be, 35 to 45-year-old women that make $70,000 a year. Awesome. You could start selling expensive baking products to them. Look at this cool spatula is $35, whatever it might be. And they can go outside of that, but you need to first figure out who is that client avatar, that person that you're looking to hit. Would you say that's step one, Tyler, or what do you think?
Well, I think my step comes in there as well, because if you don't have that good product or service, then it just kind of goes against the wind, because it's like, okay, you got this person in mind that you're going to be marketing towards. But like I was saying, if it's not a good product or service, then that you're just going to keep marketing towards that same person. They're just going to keep a revolving door where they come in, they leave, they come in, they leave. But yeah, that is a good starting point to figure out.
The marketing people might not be as in charge of the actual product or service. They're more so in charge of marketing that product or service.
Well, don't spend money on marketing yet. Fix your product or service
Yeah,
first.
I think we're assuming that we have a good product, we have a good service, and now we need to figure out how to market that. And Perfect. I think it starts with...
We nailed it. Nailed the first step.
So you've got a good product.
Okay.
You know exactly who your audience is and who you're marketing to. What would you say is next?
Figuring out where they hang out. Do you think that's a good spot? Yeah,
I like that. I would say, I'd interchange that with where they hang out, whether it's platform or in person or whatever it might be. And also with the goal of what you're trying to accomplish. I think they can sort of come at the same time. But yeah, figuring out where they hang out, whether on Facebook.
Do you think the goal should be first?
I don't know if it entirely matters. Do you?
I think it would be good because the actual target audience for that specific goal might be different for a different goal in the different audience.
Yeah, I would agree then. I didn't want to just steal your thunder. No, it's the goal first, bitch.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think this is like all a good starting location. It's just figuring out like what your goal is. Is like, do you want more website traffic? Do you want more sales? Do you want more brand awareness? And then figuring out that audience and then where they hang out. Are they on Instagram? Are they on Facebook? Are they on YouTube? Are they at the country club? Are they at the yacht club? Are they, I don't know, at the bar? Yeah. Trying to figure that out. And then how are you going to get in front of those people to achieve that goal that you have set, is whether it's brand awareness, get more sales, whatever it might be.
Yeah. And if we stick with I said, again, that one, 1 in 5 counts. If we stick with the theme of...
You've been doing better.
It's good. I'm trying. If we stick with the theme of, the 35 to 45-year-old females that are really into baking that make $70,000 a year, maybe they all hang out at a certain location. Maybe it's like this gourmet chef
Brunch.
place, right? Or they go to brunch at a certain restaurant, right? Your marketing might lean more towards, okay, I need to have some sort of marketing in this restaurant because I know they all congregate there every single Tuesday and Thursday morning. So maybe you have some sort of sponsorship with that business that gets your product in there, whatever that might be. Or maybe it's 45-year-old to 65-year-old men that like Bud Light and you have a new beer that's coming out. Maybe you need to focus a little bit more so on the bars, or you need to focus on Facebook because the older demographic is on Facebook. So that's where knowing your audience comes into play to figure out then what is your goal. Do you want to sell more of those people? Get in front of them wherever they're at. So that's where the location, the goal kind of come together, figure out what that goal is, and then you can figure out where that actual person is at. Excuse me.
What do you think the next step would be?
Oh, there it's kind of, just a crapshoot. I think. I mean, from there, I think you need to come up with your marketing plan. Once you come up with the marketing plan, I called it the octopus yesterday when we were talking about it. Come up with your web branch of what you're going to do. So maybe over here you have, hey, this is our social media content. This is what it's going to lead to. People are going to watch our social media. Then maybe they're going to go to our YouTube channel to watch our longer stuff. And then after they watch the longer stuff, maybe we sell them on going to a 2-day event where we sell cooking supplies, right? Maybe that's the funnel and that's the marketing octopus web that you have for social media content. But then over here you also have, but we're also going to set up a booth at this event where we talk about our cool spatulas and our awesome containers that store food for 2 weeks, whatever it might be. So maybe there you're handing out business cards and flyers that send them to a specific landing page that allows them to get the products for 20% off, whatever it might be. So come up with all of your ideas and put them into this octopus of a marketing campaign. And then once you actually have that on paper, you can start to execute on it rather than, oh, we want to sell to 35-year-old moms. Let's just post on social media pictures of our spatulas. So that's the difference between here's what we're doing, we're posting because that's where we think they're at, versus here's our whole entire marketing campaign. Here's our octopus on how we're going to execute on that goal to sell more spatulas.
I feel like Red Bull does a pretty good job of that. I know you've used them as an example in the past, but I feel like because they don't just post pictures of their cans. Yeah. They don't even post pictures people drinking, whatever.
They're trying to mask the fact that their drink tastes like fuel.
I don't think it tastes terrible.
It's not amazing though. Yeah. There's other better energy drinks, I'll say that.
What's your number one? Still Ghost?
Ghost, baby, Ghost. Ghost just came out with a drink that's caffeine free, but the same flavors. I'm like, I like that.
What's the point of that?
Well, if I don't want caffeine at 7:00 at night, but I still want a little Ghost flavor.
What?
Why is that so crazy?
This is like, what's it called? Where you're not following like the norms and you're just kind of like, I don't know if it's like blue ocean, red ocean strategy, but it's just, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, they're not following the norms. Well, it's like everyone does it this way. Yeah. So let's go the other way. Let's zig while they're zagging because everyone's doing the energy drinks. Everyone's doing energy drinks with caffeine. What if we did energy drinks without caffeine?
Well, they're not. Like it's not an energy drink. It's more of just like a juice type thing.
So it's like a pop, zero calorie pop.
Yeah, I don't know how many sugars are in it.
Oh,
yeah.
Ghost has calories.
I think it has 90 calories, maybe less. I don't even know. I'd have to look. Maybe it's 10 calories. Honestly, I don't even know.
Yeah, so I'm just saying, like, I don't know how we got on to
5 calories. It's got 5 calories.
There you go. So is that the decaffeinated one or is that the caffeinated one?
That's the caffeinated one, I believe.
Yeah. I don't know how we got into energy drinks. Oh, talking about Red Bull.
Because it sucks.
Branding. Yeah. So I think it's just like the quote that I found is just that I'll say at the end of the podcast. It's just like in the same video that Gary V posted not posted, but like he created that I sent you the other day about building a brand where you're not trying to interrupt people. You're just trying to, like, I don't know, you're building a brand and it's not like people aren't going to buy your products when you're just posting pictures of the product. And it's actually like showing like how Red Bull does it, where this is how we're going to get in front of people. Did you see the one where they posted with Max Verstappen and the really fast drone?
I didn't see that one, no.
Oh, you didn't see that? That's
I
crazy.
do love Max Verstappen, though.
Yeah, they built the fastest like drone in the world, and it's like following him while he's driving around the course. It's pretty cool. I'll send you it after.
Yeah, and that's where Red Bull is awesome with that, because they're selling the brand. Their whole thing for Red Bull, they're necessarily not trying to sell more product. They're trying to sell the brand and get brand awareness. So the marketing that you do for brand awareness is way different than the marketing you do for selling products. If you want to sell more Red Bull cans, you're likely going to create some ads around the cans and around the drink. If you're trying to sell the Red Bull brand because you sponsor F1 and you have a Formula One team, you're going to be telling stories like that, where you're creating the fastest drone ever with the number one F1 racer in the world. It has nothing to do with energy drinks, because you're not trying to sell energy drinks. You're trying to sell the Red Bull brand around Formula One. So that's where it comes into play, that you need to know your goal before the actual marketing strategy comes into play.
Yeah. Imagine coming up with that strategy for Red Bull in the start. It's like, we aren't going to post anything about the product.
Yeah, we do not care about our product.
Exactly. Imagine that. I think that's another example. I mean, I feel like more competition has come out, but that's kind of the strategy that we talked about, where they built a really great product and they did really good brand awareness. And then that brand awareness brought customers in. Those customers brought more customers in. And it was just kind of like that. But now it's at the point where their product isn't the best because other people came on the market and now they're overtaking them. I still think they're good and popular, but yeah.
I read an article that when Red Bull first came out, they had a bunch of different studies on people tasting it and talking about what it tastes like. And an overwhelming majority of the feedback is the worst drink they've ever tasted in their life. So
really,
yeah. And I think a lot of it was overseas, whereas they were doing it in Europe and Asia, but they got this feedback that the drink is absolutely awful. But they made it a luxury because, one, they put it in a way smaller can. So it's a tiny can. They made it more expensive, which makes it feel a little bit luxury, where it's like, oh, I get less and it's more expensive. It must be really good. It doesn't taste amazing. It's almost like when rich people eat really expensive food, like caviar and all that.
Caviar.
All that shit tastes horrible. But it's luxury because you get it in small little plates.
Give me a burger and fries.
Exactly. A burger and fries is going to be way better. But if you give me little fish eggs on a tiny ass saucer of a plate and charge me $300, I'm like, man, this is luxury. That's the same thing that Red Bull did with their cans. They made the cans way smaller. Branding. And then they found that feedback that people think this tastes horrible. So they're like, let's just tell stories. Let's sell the brand. So then they created this massive brand, which in turn got people to love the brand and the stories they were telling about dirt bikes and F1 cars, which in turn made people be like, oh, I want to buy their drink. I love Red Bull, right? So it subconsciously made people love Red Bull without having to love the flavor of their drink.
So for me, it was either like when I was growing up, the only energy drinks I really knew of, or I think I really ever knew of, was Monster and Red Bull.
Yeah.
And Monster's like that monster truck Kyle type of person. And I'm like, I'm not him. So I went with Red Bull. So like, I don't know if there just wasn't many options at the time, but yeah, I think that definitely helped. Like the branding of that. Oh, for sure.
Because there's no first form, there was no ghost.
Mm-hmm. But I do like the branding, that aspect of it that you were just talking about, where they rebranded to make it a luxury type of product and people viewed it as that.
So moral of the story, if you have a shit product, don't talk about it ever. Create a brand around something totally different that in turn gets people to like the original product.
There you go.
The Red Bull formula. We
could call it. You're right.
I'm going to do an email on that. This
Red Bull would campaign. Love that.
Yeah. For all you people that have a shit product, let's take a lesson out of Red Bull's book.
There you go.
Cool. All right. Another thing that I want to talk about marketing wise, a lot of it's organic, but advertising and paid ads also come in heavily into marketing. That's a channel that I see not many small businesses that I work with and people that I talk to even have an inkling of how it works, whether it's Facebook ads or Google ads or paid media anywhere. They don't even know what to do. They don't know how to boost a post. They don't know how to create an ad, any of that stuff, where that's another big aspect of marketing that you're missing out on. Because like I said, or like I mentioned, the whole marketing octopus that you have, maybe in that funnel, in that octopus, you have somewhere in there where there's paid media, where you have an ad, but you want to put money towards it to push them to a certain area, right? So the paid advertising in media is something that definitely gets overlooked in my experience.
Why do you think that is?
2 reasons. One, I think people are too scared to test out with money. So it costs money to learn, right? Like right now, I'm running an ad that's $250 for a week. It might get absolutely nothing to me in return. I might not get enough signups to the thing that I'm promoting, but I'm spending the $250 to learn and get a feel of the market and the audience. So one, I think people are hesitant to spend money on something that might not give them a return. And then 2, I think people just don't think they need it. It's like, oh, we're doing organic marketing channels and, we get a lot of referrals. So it's like, why do we need to do paid advertising? And that stems back to them not having that octopus, that grand overview of where that would fit in. Because if you don't have that big marketing plan, I could see where you'd think, I don't need to do paid media. I had the same experience. I didn't have a big marketing plan. So it's like, what am I going to run ads on? I don't have anything to run ads on. But now that I put together this marketing octopus funnel, now I'm like, oh, this is where the paid advertising would fit into this strategy.
Yeah, I think a lot of them, it might just be intimidating at the same time. Where
for sure.
They're just like, but I believe a lot of just small businesses, they just rely on referrals. And like, that's like a lot of my clients that I have at work, a lot of their jobs and projects come from referrals. So I think that's just kind of how they have always done it. And they just don't realize the potential that it could actually have with their actual business and actually improving it potentially.
My biggest pet peeve when I talk to businesses that say, oh, we get a ton of referrals, we don't need to do marketing, right? Why would you not double down on those referrals you're getting? Put in some sort of funnel or landing page where these people that are giving you the referrals that obviously love your product already and are sending you people, get them to talk about your product. Maybe you film a testimonial video. Maybe they just film something vertical on their cell phone to talk about it. Or maybe they give you a line that you can use as a testimonial on your website, whatever it might be. Double down on those referrals you're getting to get even more, because social proof is the number one thing people are going to buy from you if they see other people are buying from you and that you have social proof. I'm probably not going to buy from Tyler. If I go to his website, nobody's said anything good about him. I don't even know what kind of results he's getting for people. But if I go to his website and his brag bar is, oh, I got this, they got me to an extra 2 times revenue. Or, hey, I went to Tyler and he saved me $500 a month because I was running Google ads wrong. Whatever it might be, having other people sell your product for you is a huge opportunity that these people that are quote unquote, we only work for referrals are missing out on. Would you agree or no?
I think so. They just probably don't understand the platform and what it can entail. And I think a lot of the times businesses' marketing budget is usually well below what it should be.
Yeah.
And they aren't willing really to spend money on marketing. And you always hear marketing is usually the first thing that people cut whenever it's like times are tough. It's like, marketing, get out of here. We don't need you anymore.
Yeah.
But that's honestly what you should be doubling down on, because that's what everyone else is doing. And if you double down on the marketing during tough times, everyone else is cutting marketing. You're going to be putting yourself ahead
some of that market
during those
share.
tough times. Exactly. And then once times do start to get better, you're going to be ahead of the curve on everyone else that cut all the marketing. So I think it just seems to be like a mindset of a lot of business owners and people that are I guess in business, that marketing is like the first to go and least amount spent on.
It gets too glossed over. Marketing gets too many look to the left and just keep walking, right? So I think marketing, people should just put more of an emphasis on that, come up with an actual plan. Again, marketing, obviously sales is the lifeblood of your business, but if you can't market, there's no one to sell to. So put marketing in the spotlight a little bit more, figure out more of a marketing plan rather than, oh, we're just going to, post content and we're going to have our front desk lady design a post here and there, whatever it might be. Yeah, you're quote unquote marketing, but how effective is that really? That's why you see so many small businesses, they get 3 likes on every post, no one comments, no shares. And it's like, okay, what are we doing here?
Story of my life.
I mean, I get that too, but I don't have an excuse for it. I'll get back to you with an excuse.
It's tough to get past that.
Exactly. Tyler, anything else that you want to mention as far as marketing goes? I think we covered that pretty well. We gave people a step-by-step action on how to get out of that mindset of just being a poster to now a marketing concierge.
I believe a big part of marketing is building trust with the customers, and whether it's just providing value through knowledge, because I know LM&T does a really good job with this, where they send out newsletters. I'm assuming they have a blog, but they talk a lot about the benefits, like what's good, what's bad, and they just educate a lot. And I think that's where a lot of marketing can come into play, where you're trying to educate a lot or you're trying to entertain. And I know we did an episode on that. I don't know if it was the trust episode 78 on trust, but I know we talked a little bit about another one where it's like entertain, educate. I think the other one's emotion, but I think just trying to be that source of information and gain trust in people, or try and gain the trust of your potential customer, and then eventually they will buy from you. It's a long-term game.
For sure. And to circle it back to what we were saying earlier, it is all about relationship building. If you had to dial it down to what marketing is, it's about building a relationship with your viewer, your audience, your customers, your clients, your patients, whatever it might be. That's what it boils down to. So building as much trust with that person is going to be able to allow you to grow your business.
Definitely.
Right, let's hop into this week's business idea. Tyler, it is on you this week. What do you got for us?
I would not be surprised if this already exists, but an automatic water planter, because I was just like, I've been gone for 3 months and I've had a few plants. And it just having like, I don't know if it's like built in, and then it's like you built like an aquarium, but for a plant.
An aquarium plant.
Like, not really like in a whole aquarium, but like just kind of building something that actually has like design aspects to it maybe. And then you're able to like fill it up, and maybe depending on, you can choose how much water you want to give it and how often. And then maybe if you want to go away for a year or 6 months or a month, it'll be able to just automatically water it. And maybe you can have like different designs with the automatic water planter, and it's just like a castle or something like that. Or maybe it's just like a stem. But I would honestly not be surprised if it already exists. But I was just trying to think of maybe there's something that could just automatically water plants. So you don't have to worry about it.
I did Amazon it here quickly. And have you seen those globes that they stick in plants? Like into pots?
Kind of, yeah.
Apparently those are self-watering globes. So you must just fill it up with water and then jam it in, and then it's a slow drain into the plant. That's obviously very manual. There's no timing, but there are a couple on here that looks like an alarm clock plugged into a bucket of water, plugged into a hose. Not very ugly, or not very good looking. It looks kind of janky. So I think we could do some definite. I think if you built it into the
tweaks
into the plant, into the pot. What is it called? A planter. If you built it into the planter, then it could look a little bit better. Maybe you just put it on the back,
Yeah. I feel like those globe things, those are more for outdoors, is my guess. But having like a whole aquarium type thing, like you could have like your pot and then maybe it's like attached to it in the back or something like that. Like you got to make it aesthetically pleasing, because like if you're going to have something that's fairly big that waters it automatically, you want to make sure that it actually looks somewhat decent.
I think
and that's probably the hard part.
Yeah, because all of these don't look great at all. It all just looks like alarm clock. Everything's sitting outside of the planters. I think if there's something you could attach to it where either you could hide it on the back or attach to it where it looks stylish, like you said,
yeah,
would be way better. Or just the planters themselves have a watering feature in it.
Yeah. I think that the issue with it would be it takes away from the plant, and then it's like you got this whole back thing to it or whatever it might be. And then it's just, I don't know, maybe it's just you build like a stage behind it, and then that's kind of like what it is. I don't know.
Maybe it's a ring, like a basketball hoop, and then on the tops of the basketball hoop, there's little holes that every 2 hours or whenever you want to water it, it shoots water up like this. And then
like
at the bottom, the water goes in, goes through all the roots and the grass and whatever it's in, the dirt, goes to the bottom. There's a filter thing. So it filters all the shit water back into regular water, pumps it back up for the next time it needs a squirt.
Yeah, whatever the plant doesn't eat.
Yeah.
Drink, whatever you want to call it.
Because I'm sure eventually you'd run out of water.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool with like the waterfall though. That's a cool concept.
Like, and then it kind of looks cool when it's watering.
Yeah.
It makes a mess, which would be cool too.
I'm assuming you would need to plug that in though to have like that constant like
battery,
be able
solar
to push
operated.
it up.
Put it by a window?
Yeah, it could be solar or battery. That's true.
Yeah. Work in progress.
Not bad. It's decent.
Cool. All right. That's a water planter. If you guys want to invest, shoot us a message. We'll get you. If you want to invest, message us on Discord. Cool.
E-transfer, right. Zello.
Tyler, you got anything else?
No. Follow us on social media.
Yeah,
I got a YouTube channel, Tyler Sinden. Instagram, Tyler Sinden as well. And I know Easton's out here going to be pumping out a lot of content. Keep an eye out for that.
You don't even need to follow me because I'm going to hit you with ads. The ad man.
All right. You're that confident?
No, I'm not. All right. That's episode 80 of The Midnight Entrepreneur. If you have any questions you'd like us to cover or answer, email us at midnightentrepreneur@gmail.com. And if you found value in this content or found this entertaining, post a picture of it on your story or share with a friend. Send them a screenshot and a text message. I don't know. If you really enjoyed the show, we'd love a rating and review wherever you're listening. Talk to you guys next week for another episode of The Midnight Entrepreneur.
Instead of interrupting, work on attracting. Dharmesh Shah.